Hi guys, so you can probably see my screen right now, which is super wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the video that we're going to be watching today. I'm hearing it back. Hold on. Hi guys, so you can probably see my screen right now, which is super wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the video that we're going to be watching today. Okay, much better. So I need to jump onto my phone to see these comments if there are any, simply because I'm still working out how to react live to a video, and the only way that it seems to be working is by letting it capture my entire screen, which is kind of honestly annoying. So that's what's going on here. One person is watching. Is that me? No, it's Flying Falcon. Hello. Welcome. I don't know how this is gonna go, so here we go. Anywho's, if you've been around, I think at least probably a month or more ago, I did a video on Girl Defined, and we looked at kind of how they're, like, a lot of the things that people found controversial about them. I felt that a lot of the times it was just because they were coming from a Christian worldview, while other people were not. But there also was a level of insincerity that really irked me personally. And then towards the end of that video, we did look into something that Rachel Oates had pointed out, where she felt like they kind of glossed over a situation that this girl was going through. Hi, Epicate. Sorry. Sorry if I look down. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. I don't like that you guys can see my little bar thing there, but whatever. It's gonna be okay. This is my first live react type of thing. So I figured, oh yes, I have with me a drink and some snacks. So feel free to get your own drink and snacks. And if there happens to be any belching, I'm sorry, but it's a thing that happens. Flying Falcon says, best thing to listen while rebuilding something. This will be interesting. Yeah, so if you want to hear me just ramble on and listen to them. So I'm actually going to be starting off with this video titled Why Sexual Abuse is Never Okay. And it's basically a longer form response to everyone kind of pointing out that that girl had kind of sounded like she was talking about an abusive situation. Thanks, Kate. I'm glad that you enjoyed that video on them. So, now I have seen most of this, but I want to watch it with you guys and give my thoughts on it. And if it starts to get kind of boring, we're gonna skip on to another video, because I want to see if, just even beyond this video, if their tone and stuff has changed in a way. This video does have a high like to dislike ratio, which is pretty rare for them, because, excuse me, the burping's already starting. um, because, wow, my brain stopped working. Usually they have a pretty high dislike ratio, simply because a lot of people have used them as Christian cringe and stuff to kind of joke around about. People leave like the same messages on them, like, aha, you guys look like the girls that used to bully me in middle school, or something like that. That's like someone's favorite comment to comment on literally all of their videos. It's not very helpful constructive criticism, but this one in particular did get a very positive amount of feedback, even from people who typically are critics. So I figured we would watch this. Let me know if you can't hear this. You should be able to from my test, but just let me know.
Hey y'all, it's Kristen and Bethany here with Girl Defined Ministries, and today we're going to be talking about why sexual abuse is never okay. As we talk about sexual abuse, we want to first say that this topic is huge and massive, and in one small video, we cannot possibly say every important thing that needs to be said on.
I will say, one of the first things I'm noticing here is that they seem to drop the kind of overpowering, obnoxious background music that they have previously had, and it does seem that they're kind of stripping it down a bit to be more sincere, instead of like, haha, this is our cute little show, or whatever. So I do really appreciate that they do seem to be coming from a more sincere perspective, at least through like how they're presenting themselves and how they've edited so far.
on this topic. If you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual abuse, we want to first say that we are deeply sorry. This act is evil and it breaks our hearts and it breaks God's heart. And in fact, we're close to several people who have been victims of sexual abuse, and being close to them and watching them walk this journey, it has been a long and challenging season for them. According to the Center for Family Justice, about 1 in 4 women are abused in their lifetime. This sobering statistic is really a sad reminder that abuse isn't just something that's happening out there, but something that's happening all around us. And so as we're talking to people, as we're interacting with women, let's be mindful as we're asking questions to go deeper if something seems concerning.
In a recent Q&A video that we posted, many of you expressed concern about the non-consensual part of her email. We are grateful for your concerns and we completely agree with you. Therefore, I want to read the same question that we previously read in our Q&A video and take some time to specifically focus on the non-consensual part of the email. She says, "Dear Girl Defined, I'm sure you probably won't read this, but it feels good to let it all out to someone who would have some good advice, and I would really appreciate it if I did get a response. I was raised in a Christian household, but as I started getting into my teen years, I found I was straying further and further away from God and His Word. I've done things with boyfriends in the past, some with and without consent. I've been really wanting to get back into my spirituality and relationship with God for a while now, but I'm not sure how to even start or if that's even possible with the things I've done in the past. Is it even possible to re-purify yourself from sex outside of marriage? And if so, what does that look like? I'm terribly lost right now and would really appreciate a response or even a video talking about these topics or talking about situations that people who haven't always been Christians might run into. Thank you so much, and your videos have been inspiring me a lot lately." When it comes to sexual activity, one of two things are happening. Either one, we are willing participants in the sexual activity, or two, sexual actions are being done against us without our permission. There's a very clear and distinct line between the two. I think we can all agree that in spite of our religious background or upbringing, that we are all responsible for the sexual choices that we freely and willingly choose to make. And I think we can all agree that we are not responsible for the sexual abuse that happens against us without our consent.
Okay, so to this, I greatly applaud them for. If you follow any drama stuff that goes on YouTube, a lot of times people will do things, make mistakes, and might kind of put out like a half-hearted apology. Sometimes others notice that if they ignore it long enough, it just goes away. But I really applaud them for facing that head on, saying, "Hey, we missed it, and we appreciate you bringing it up to us, and they're going to readdress this." And something Rachel Oates kind of tried to say in her video was almost like they were blaming the victim. And here you can see clearly that they're saying there's a difference between being a willing participant and having something done to you against your will. So I really, really appreciate that they make that very clear, and that they make that clear that it's not the victim's fault at any point, and that's not something that God approves of, and that's not something that God's okay with. So I really appreciate that. I'm actually going to probably skip on out of this one. If I recall correctly, basically they just kind of continue on with basically the theme here, of, this abuse is not okay, it's not your fault, and that sort of thing. And again, really applaud them for that. So seeing that change in their video, I was really hopeful for kind of maybe that they would strip things down to that more genuine place that I was really hoping that they would be coming from. So their next video that they let out, excuse me, is a short one titled "Personal Thoughts About Our YouTube Channel." And I don't remember her name.
Hey guys, it's Kristen and Bethany here.
Kristen. And Epic Kate says, "Yeah, it's more of the same. I watched it too." Yeah. So this next one, I think you're talking about the rest of that video. This next one here, they seem kind of more toned down. At least Kristen, she has her cardigan and shirt on, but it kind of seems a little more relaxed. I don't hear the obnoxious music so far. And Falcon earlier said, "Oh man, that music was so annoying." So let's check out real quick what their thoughts are about their YouTube channel, because it definitely, I think, seemed to be a moment that made them start thinking about their channel and basically what they were doing and stuff like that. Yeah, that music was so perky. Sorry, that's what Epic Kate just said.
And over the past few months, we've been thinking a lot about our channel and just really thinking about the style, the way we present, the content, and just the overall purpose of our entire YouTube channel. And as we've been evaluating our channel and really just taking a step back and asking ourselves, like, okay, is this exactly what we want? And also taking into account some of the really helpful constructive criticism that a lot of you have given us, we've actually taken that into account and said, you know, I think it's time for us to make some changes to the channel. And we are really excited about this. So starting next week, you're gonna notice some updates to our presentation style, our set, and our content. And something else we're really excited about is bringing you a broader range of topics through more specific targeted playlists. As we move forward with these changes, the content of our channel will still be coming from a Christian worldview and will be specifically targeted.
Okay, quick question. Some more broad content through some more specific targeted playlists. What does that mean? Can someone tell me what that means? I don't understand.
Toward Christian women. However, we want you to know that regardless of your religious background, everyone is welcome here. We're excited about what's coming and really believe these changes will be beneficial for us and for everyone who watches this channel.
Rewinding back in time to when we very first created this channel, we created it with the purpose to encourage Christian girls with practical truths in all areas of her life, and that purpose is going to remain the same. We personally believe that true hope is found in a genuine relationship with Jesus. Our lives have been transformed by God.
Really quick, I'm going to answer. Flying Falcon says, what do you think does Perky seem or maybe why do you think Perky seems disingenuous to you? It does to me, but that's just me. I think it's kind of like a cognitive dissonance because when it comes to like spiritual things or things, because they're wanting to come to you on this girl-to-girl level, you know, give you that practical spiritual advice for girls and women, that is kind of personal. So it can be difficult to say, like, I'm giving you this heart to heart, this really practical advice that I think is important for us to like sit down and have our girl talk time, and then be like la 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 in the background, like what? It's a form of cognitive dissonance, and I think it was just like overpowering. So between them, kind of giving off this the TV studio smiles and the perky music, it just felt like it was too polished to give the kind of advice that they're trying to give, if that makes sense. That's how I feel about it. Epic Kate says, I think they want to aim content to marrieds, singles, searching for truthers, and Christians. I think the perkiness can seem to imply lack of struggles. I think the first thing she said was probably a response to my question. I'm not sure. So they're almost done. They said basically they're going to change their set, kind of change how they're talking, broaden their stuff. Epic Kate says I can be perky, but I can be real and raw and struggling too. So I think that is like the dissonance though, is like a lot of times they're trying to talk to you about struggles while almost coming across like perky and perfect. Where, like, for example, I don't know if any of you watch this person. I think it's Sierra Schultze. She does a lot of clothing hauls and stuff like that. She has very perky music in the background. Well, yeah, she's just kind of showing you, oh yeah, here's this haul. Sometimes she'll talk to you about how the sizing isn't working and how sizing across stuff like doesn't work out great. But she doesn't bring it to like a really deep level, if that makes sense. She might touch on it like, you know, it can make people feel not great about their self-esteem, but then she kind of pulls away from it. She doesn't claim to sit there and give you this deep conversation about body image. She might mention body image, but she's not going into that deep conversation, so she can have the perky music and still seem genuine with what she's doing, where they're coming across with things that, you know, they're difficult topics to talk about in the first place, and then seeming all perky and polished is just kind of difficult to feel genuine about. Okay, I'm gonna finish this one really quick and probably grab some more snacks.
And we found true hope, peace, and purpose through a genuine relationship with Jesus. We love God, We love his word. We're excited about what he's teaching us, and we really look forward to sharing that with you. Now, regarding the changes to the channel, if you are a content creator, you know what it's like to look back on some of your earliest work and really see how far you've come. That's exactly what it's like for the two of us. We've grown a lot since those early days, and we hope to continue growing and improving on the quality. Thanks, guys, for being a part of the journey.
So did they basically just admit that their old content was cringy? Because most of the videos that even I reacted to, and most people kind of call out, is their older stuff. So I feel like they're basically saying, yeah, some of it was kind of cringy, and we want to grow from that. So let's see if they can put that into action. You know, I think I bombarded them with random comments on this stuff just because I was really happy to see them actually address it where a lot of people don't. Alright, so this one also had a pretty good like-dislike ratio.
You know, many instances like hating.
Sorry, I had watched a little bit of it apparently. So we've got some music.
Hey guys, it's Bethany and Kristen here. Thanks so much for joining the conversation today. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe.
I don't hear background music, so we had a good little happy intro, kind of behind the scenes like takes of their setup, new setup, and then we drop the music. So far, it feels better. Like, it just does. They're sitting down chatting with you. This girl, Kristen, maybe her, like, on-camera smile just comes across kind of fake. Maybe that's just my problem with Kristen. Sorry, Kristen.
Below, and if you want to support this channel, check us out on patreon.com/girldefined. I love this topic of beauty because I think it's something that most of us as women can relate to. Like, I can. We have been on a journey where we have struggled and wrestled with certain aspects of our physical features and feeling like we don't measure up. I remember
they're not
so
good enough, you know.
many instances like hating my legs, hating my hair, hating my nose, hating my long neck, like so much stuff.
You are probably thinking of something right now about yourself where you're like,
it's so hard because we feel like in order to be beautiful, we need to look a specific certain way. And for each of us, I think that specific way might be a little different. So I was at the store the other day, checking out at the grocery store. I had my groceries. I'm perfectly content, minding my own business. And I hit the checkout aisle and I see this magazine. And on the front cover, there's this beautiful woman, but the title says World's Most Beautiful Woman. And I see that and I'm thinking, yeah, she's really beautiful, but how can this one woman with this one type of skin tone, one eye color, one hair color, how can she be the one most beautiful woman in the entire world, right? And we see that and we think, oh no, well, I'm looking at her thinking, I don't look anything like this woman, and I'm looking around at all these other women,
other ladies
in the store, and we don't all look like this one woman, but we're often told, and we often feel that beauty is one thing. That it's
one
not
thing that's
diverse.
before us. Like, that's what's beautiful, and I'm not that, so what am I?
Yeah,
you know?
so then I must be ugly, right? And that's what I was feeling in that moment. Like, I must be really ugly because I look nothing like her. And so instead of embracing the diversity that we have to offer as women, the beautiful differences of skin color and height and eye color, nose shape, and hair texture, the diversity, we so often feel like in order to be beautiful, we need to fit a certain mold, and that in so many ways we all need to be exactly the same, but that's really not the case. You know, I can totally relate to that.
Okay, so I don't know. What is that you're eating? I am eating Lifesaver gummies, and they're amazing. And if you've ever this is gonna be so off topic, but if you've ever gone to like Walmart and they have a pickup at certain places where you can order online and pick up, and if they don't have the thing that you ordered and they said was in stock, they'll get you basically the next best thing for the same price. Excuse me. So I ordered a much smaller bag of Lifesaver gummies, and they apparently didn't have it, so they had to give me a big bag of it, and I'm happy about that. So if you guys haven't tried Lifesaver gummies, you need to. Epic Kate says, I couldn't care less about the image of beauty in magazines. Am I alone in that? You know, honestly, no, I don't care. I don't care that much either. I mean, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I get in the mode where I'm just like, yeah, it'd be nice to, like, not look like this right now, because, like, I'm already irritated because I know, one, the angle here isn't flattering. I know that when I have my hair off of my face, I don't look so great. So, like, there are moments where, like, you know, if I'm in a state like this, I don't look wonderful, and I see someone who does, it's kind of like, be nice to be that person, but at the same time, like, I've never been a person to, like, read magazines that much, and a lot of times people that a lot of other people think are really beautiful, I think they look nice, but there's, to me, like, everyday people that I see in person, I feel like are a lot prettier. But I don't know, I don't feel like I've, like, obsessed over magazines and felt like I have to be that person. As long as it's MC Fries, I'm gonna poke with that stick forever, not MC Fries. I think I know where you're going with that, and I'm a little offended. I'm just kidding. Oh, it's okay. I've got all sorts of junk food, so it's fine. Also, if you guys have, any snacks with you right now for this lovely live stream, you can let me know what you're eating. So I don't know if I really want to sit through this whole thing. But I'll just give you a quick analysis of what I'm seeing so far. Despite the fact that it is a little bit generalized, like, oh, the girl in the magazine doesn't look like real life, and that kind of beauty standard, why do we hold everyone to this one idea of what is beauty or whatever? There are people who deal with that. So I do like that they've kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like they kind of went from like a very scripted way of doing things to more of like maybe a notes and points kind of way, because they used to both be like in the camera and like haha the whole time, like the other person was speaking, and it was just really, really awkward and kind of cringy. So this way, like, sitting down, and it seems like they are having more of a genuine conversation. I still personally don't like sitting down and having girl talks, so I still, don't feel 100% comfortable with it, but I do think it is a pretty big improvement from previously. She's offended equals I did something right. Cases, don't eat a lot of junk food, eat anything healthy. That's a good advice, but I specifically got junk food to sit through this, so maybe I should make better life choices in the future. Epic Kate says, you don't have to sit through more, yes. This message has plenty of awareness, yeah. So, we're gonna skip on, see how their next video is going, because I was thinking about this, I was like, there's no way we're gonna, like, get through that much if we actually sit through every single video. So let me find the next one. See if we can keep this kind of authentic vibe going. Now we have a book launch, and this
Hey
one
guys,
has about half and half, slightly more likes than dislikes. But of course we are talking about a topic that most of society doesn't agree with the Christian standpoint on. So let's see real quick.
we are so excited for the first time ever to officially show you the cover of our brand new book that is set to release April 30th. So this book is called Sex, Purity, and the Longings of a Girl's Heart, Discovering the Beauty and Freedom of God-Defined Sexuality. And this book really came as a result of us talking to hundreds of you through social media.
Okay, guys, because there are at least 2 guys on this stream, this is where I start feeling awkward, where we start talking about girl stuff, and then, but there's guys here. Like, that's just weird to me. I don't like it. Like, the longings of a girl's heart, and I'm just like, can we keep this in the, like, awkward class at church that I don't remember ever having to go to when I was younger?
Through email and in person, and so many of your questions were questions about these things: God's design for sex, longings, purity, and so we wrote a book specifically addressing your most pressing questions.
We want to get this book out to as many people as possible because, like Kristen said, this is such a needed topic. And we need your help to do this because you know so many people that we don't know, and we want you to join our team, to join the official launch team in spreading the word about this book. We are only accepting 300 of you, so you're going to want to apply and hopefully be on our team with us. I think registration will close March 6th, so there's only actually a few days to join the team. We hope that you apply. We would love your help spreading the word.
Okay, so what do they do for the launch team? Launch team, you guys are going to get a hard copy of this in the mail, along with a gift package from us with cute little gifts in it. You're going to join a private Facebook group where we will have lives, weekly content coming out to you.
We're going to be interacting with y'all in person there.
It is going to be so fun. And then what you'll do as a part of our team is you'll help us spread the word through your social media platforms, posting, spreading it to friends, telling people about it, and just getting the word as far and wide as we possibly can. So we hope you'll apply for our team. Click the link.
Well, I guess we're just going up to whatever's next. So basically, they'll send you a book and you promote it. Okay. Also, it's not in person.
Hey guys, I'm in my kitchen tonight about to make dinner for Zach and me. We're gonna have small group after that, so I'm gonna have to go pretty fast. But I wanna invite you guys into my little kitchen. Here it is. And join me in making our dinner for tonight. And so we're gonna be having it's like an Italian pesto chicken bake with a side of broccoli and cauliflower rice that we're gonna make from scratch, and then some slices of avocado on the side to give us a little fresh something delicious. So let's go. First things first, I gotta put my hair up in a ponytail so all my hair doesn't fall out and get in the food. And then I need to put on an apron. Here are the ingredients minus the chicken. So that's gonna turn into cauliflower rice. We're gonna chop up the broccoli, saute it, fresh avocado, tomato slices to go on top of our pesto chicken, some cheese to top it. We'll start with the actual pesto. Let's get going.
No, I don't want you to leave Aaron. I was just saying, like, I guess that's kind of why sometimes I'm not even comfortable going over their videos. Okay, I'm done, but like, at first I thought.
Well, y'all, I just ran into a major problem as I was chopping up my broccoli and my tomato and what I thought was my cauliflower head. As you guys saw, I got into it and I was kind of confused. I cut it in half and realized that I did not buy a cauliflower head, but I bought what are these things called? A cabbage head. Couldn't even think of the name.
Girl.
So I don't have a cauliflower head. I literally thought the package said cauliflower and I must have totally missed it. So thankfully, I have some spare frozen cauliflower that's already chopped up. It's from Costco. So we're going to use that tonight, but I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to show you guys how I make homemade cauliflower rice. But essentially you just take the cauliflower head, I chop it into quarters, and then I grate it on a cheese grater. And it comes out in these like tiny little pieces that look like rice, and then I just saute it. So you'll see the saute part because I still have the frozen bag, but we're just going to miss the actual like grating part. So yeah, that was a surprise for me too. Read your labels, read what it actually says. Here's my bag of the frozen cauliflower rice. It's organic, it's awesome, it is from Costco. So that's what we're gonna be using tonight. But before we get the broccoli and the cauliflower sauteing on the stovetop, we need to make our Italian chicken bake. This is something that is so easy. It's literally a few ingredients, and then you put it all in the oven and you let that chicken bake until it's juicy and perfect, and it is always a win. Like Zach loves it every time. So let me show you how it works.
Come by here for like some random. That was not appetizing. I say as I like eat junk food in front of the camera. So, Kate said, I'm sorry, Falcon just said, you're like my sister criticizing while chewing. Pretty much. Like, I feel like that's just my natural habitat. You can't hear me? Can you still not hear me? That's unfortunate if that's true. I don't know what to change if you can't hear me. I'm gonna keep going. If you still can't hear me, let me know. So she says, I think they started this channel really young, right? It's hard for people who... Okay, good. It's hard for people who start young to stay relevant. Are you familiar with Superwoman? She's struggling with that. Yeah, it is difficult for them to stay relevant. And I guess that's fair too, because we did come from like a YouTube era that... Excuse me. No, so you can't hear me when I'm trying to talk over the video, and that makes sense. If the video is playing, we can't hear. Well, that's almost kind of annoying, but alright. Good to know. Good to know. What was I gonna say? Oh, so there was definitely this time of YouTube where that polished, like, I'm perfect, like, Zoella, those kind of things were really growing. But then even with Zoella, like, she moved on to vlogs where you were, like, a part of her life. But, I mean, her life was perfect, but I don't know. So maybe they're also coming from that standpoint, too. So I can definitely, understand what you're saying. Thank you. I understand now that you can't hear me when the video is playing. I hope it's not catching the thing. I don't know what mic it's using to hear me, and I'm thinking it's the camera mic, which is not great, so sorry about that if that's true. So basically, she shows us how to make food. She accidentally got cabbage instead of cauliflower, which I was really confused because I was like, I'm pretty sure that's cabbage, not cauliflower. But then she was like peeling it, and I was like, what do I know? Maybe this is what cauliflowers look like. And when she cut it in the middle, I was like, no, that's a cabbage. That's a cabbage right there. Anyway, no, I don't want to play. So
Hey guys,
basically,
we
they
are
launched a
so
book, want people to promote it by being on their so-called team and kind of show like a cooking thing, kind of more personal stuff, which I think they used to do anyway. Epic Kate says, I prefer smaller YouTubers that aren't perfect with amazing production values that actually respond to comments. I feel like videos like that feel like they're from real people. Same here, except for like people who have like perfected the art of like being relatable but like having their stuff together, if that makes sense. I think the reason why a lot of people don't always watch me is because I don't always have my stuff together, if that makes sense. The video is kind of loud. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can fix that particular issue. Output. Let's bring that down. Okay. Whoop. Alright, so basically they do some random blindfold challenge. We're gonna move on to probably the stuff that they're it looks kind of like they do like a sit down like ministry video and then like a vlog kind of video, and I think this happened before the change. So we're gonna go to this one. This one is how we found godly women to mentor us. Excuse me, I keep burping.
Hey guys, it's Kristen and Bethany here. Thanks so much for joining the conversation today. If you like this video, subscribe below. And if you want to support this channel, just check out patreon.com/girldefined and you can
Also, is the video volume better?
find more resources over at girldefined.com.
Looking back on my life, and I'm sure you have a moment of your own where you look back and you say, this is one of like the biggest decision points or turning points up until this moment in my life, because you kind of have the beginning years and the teen years and people are kind of guiding your life for you, and then you hit the end of high school.
Yes.
And people are like, okay, now you need to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
And they ask you, what are you going to do with your life? And you're like, I'm 18.
Didn't you have so many people who would ask you that?
So many. And it was such an intimidating question.
Yes.
Like, it really scared me.
Yeah, and I know, I talk to younger people and they're like, I try not to even ask them that because I'm like, I know what it's like, I'm sorry. But I remember being in that place and just wishing that I had one person who was could kind of give me an outside perspective, because I had an amazing family. Obviously, I had a great sister
So
and
much
great
wise
parents,
counsel.
but like a young woman or a woman who was just a few years ahead of me, who could have reached into my life and said, hey, I've been there. I get what it's like.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. Take a deep breath. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you how I navigated that season of life. And I didn't really have that person. I don't think you did either.
No.
So it's hard though. And I remember being in that place, that high school, transitioning into kind of becoming an adult and just wishing I had someone to guide me. And looking back, I realized, wow, so many of those big decisions, life-changing decisions that I had could have been so much like less stressful.
Okay, I'm confused because like I thought we were talking about how they found godly women to mentor them, but they're saying that they didn't have like a person to look up to mentor them when they were teenagers. Yeah, I don't understand. Besides that though, so far we're doing okay. But for some reason this one does have like a lot of dislikes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this so we can hear the audio. And this is what I do with a lot of videos. I will kind of listen while I read comments. So I'm gonna see if there's anything down
Like
here.
less of losing nights of sleep, just a lot more peaceful. Just having someone like hold my hand and say, it's gonna be okay. Here we go, girlfriend. You're gonna be fine. And looking back, I just think, wow, that would have been a great starting point, because from there are just so many more decisions to come. You
Sounds
know,
amazing.
it's like
That's only the beginning of the rest of your life.
Yeah, and so I am just such a fan of having that person and finding that person, but I know it's hard, and I know I didn't have that, and it was difficult.
I can definitely relate to what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I remember going through that, and it was so hard. And if it had just ended there, and then the rest of life was easy, and it's like
Like,
I've got
only one
answers to everything,
Yes.
it would have been awesome. But I think for me, a time in my life looking back on it where I wish I had that person, a mentor, someone older, like that coach kind of person who what you were describing is like linking arms, let's go, guidance, direction is when I first got married. I think that having someone at that point in my life, you're I'm married.
I'm 4 months married.
But I was a little bit younger than when you got married.
Okay. They want to keep reaching the people they're older than. That's what's kind of irritating. It can feel kind of condescending. Well, okay. One, Bethany, I'm glad you're married. But girl, calm down. Like, she's like, I've been 4 months married. Oh my goodness. Like, I was happy to, maybe I'm, okay, to be fair, maybe I'm abnormal. I do approach relationships differently than other people, but I do not remember being that excited about being married for 4 months when I was married for 4 months, but okay. I don't like when people talk over each other, it's stressful. Yeah, it is. To give them some benefit, I think that when my sister and I are excited about a topic, we do the same thing, so maybe that's kind of the downfall for them. They're both trying to, like, put something in, sorry, like, flip this part, try to put their own words in at the same time. Well, listening and reading and eating at the same time. Man, can you multitask? Alright, I'll learn my lesson eventually and not eat in front of the camera. That's not true, I'll probably still eat in front of the camera. To be fair, I wasn't eating then, so, no, but, the reason I was making faces was these comments, because basically, from what I'm gathering, is they're gonna blab on about how great it is to have a mentor to help you through life. Well, coming from the Christian perspective, of course, you'd probably want that person to be a Christian because that's the walk that you're walking, right? You are abnormal, Spurg. True enough. But this is the feedback they're getting. So they've changed their format. They're still, I mean, I think they've gotten better for who they are, if that makes sense. I think that they're probably going to be a little annoying just because of the talking over each other thing. I almost would rather hear them talk over each other than hear them awkwardly script out parts and watch the other one bobblehead, but that's just me, even though it is stressful. Mr. Surrendered, hello, says, I interviewed Girl Defined on my own channel yesterday. I don't always agree with them, but I find them to be very classy ladies. Oh, that's really cool. I'm glad that you had that experience with them. So they're just basically talking about having someone to mentor you through life. Okay. This is what the comment section is. So you literally take all your advice from an out-of-date, poorly translated text. Okay, then. So basically, they don't like Christians who follow the Bible taking advice from the Bible that they believe in. So that's basically just anti-Christian. Why would you or anyone need godly women to mentor you? Why not look for a smart, decent, successful, strong, wise, and reasonable woman to mentor you? I'm confident you'll have a better life with the latter one. Okay, question. Why can't why can't a godly woman be smart, decent, successful, strong, wise, and reasonable? To me, that sounds a little bit, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know if the word is prejudice. What is that word? They know who they are and what they believe. I respect them for sure. Yeah, they, at the very least, that's, I think what the issue with them is often how they go about communication, not necessarily like they themselves are like bad people. Flying Falcon says, how did you get Lauren on your channel? I'm confused. I'm gonna move on for a second. Therapy would be more beneficial. All the godly women in my life act holier than thou in public, but are some of the nastiest people behind closed doors. That's unfortunate that they feel that way. Is therapy a good idea? Yes, but you want to find a therapist who, is going to actually be beneficial and line up with your values, because if they don't, then the advice they're going to give you isn't going to be useful for you. And even then, does everyone need a therapist and not need a person in their life they can go to? I'm just finding that these comments are super unreasonable and don't seem to have really any point, if that makes sense. Oh, okay. I was like, what? So they're talking to Mr. Surrendered right now. I was very lost. I was like, who are we talking about? I'm confused. When I hear you girls talking about mentoring and teaching, I can literally see the blind leading the blind. Side note, different Q&A thing. These two are scary. I showed it to my sister. She's 9 and she cried. Okay. If you're going to criticize someone, do it with some reason. Like, there's no point in what you're saying. Like, I was happy to see that they kind of took advice and actually listened, and I think that is the most important thing you can do as a person in general, is to like listen to actual useful critique, and when it is useful, listen and do something about it. And so far it looks like they've taken some sort of measure to do that. They've gone from like super scripted and very alienated to trying to kind of more come to a person-to-person kind of level. Do they do that perfectly? Maybe not, but a lot of these comments that people are, these are the top comments. They're highly upvoted, and they're not useful comments. They're not useful. It's just annoying. Kate says, I feel sorry for how much hate they get. Aaron Polnati, you do constructive criticism and not do constructive criticism and not simply bashing people. Exactly. Like, if you didn't like something they said, then like, and then why are you here stalking a clearly Christian channel for taking Christian advice? Okay, so I'm going to move on from that because it looks like no one could point out anything that they actually said as erroneous, wrong, whatever. Okay, so we have a makeup routine. We're going to pass on that. And then, of course, we have another 60%. Promoting godly manhood in the midst of toxic masculinity. Oh yeah, this is probably going to get a lot of response.
Hey guys, it's Bethany and Kristen here. Thanks so much for joining us today on this very random weather day. Here in San Antonio, the weather is literally like it comes in cold fronts. Like we were swimming on Saturday and we're wearing jackets outside today.
Yes, Yak, been here. This is a live stream. Welcome. Welcome to the conversation. I don't know if it's been a very useful live stream, but here we are. Mostly it's been me eating stuff and getting criticized for doing that,
so weird. Anyways, we're so glad you're here. If you like our channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. If you want to keep up with us on a more regular basis, head on over to our blog, girldefine.com. And if you would like to support us and to see our channel continue on, go to patreon.com/girldefine and check out our page. So Zach and I were talking the other night at dinner time, which brings up all sorts of good conversations.
Yes.
I don't know if you and Dave
over
have,
the dinner table.
All the random things come up, but my husband's a big Twitter guy. Like, he loves Twitter, and he was on there, and he saw some tweet about something about, like, masculinity or manhood, and it was really negative, and he's like, man, and so he just brought up this conversation, like, hey, what do you think about masculinity, manhood, and we started talking, and he's like, you know, as a guy who's really striving to do the right thing, it's really hard for me when I see these tweets, and I see these comments, and I hear these things that are very, very negative about manhood, and he's like, it's so hard, because
Okay, you know what's weird? Okay, hold on. First, I will tell you what's weird in a second. Mr. Surrendered says, what I can't stand is the gay dudes that go on their videos claiming that they hate gays when they don't even mention gays most of the time. Again, yeah, it's like one of those things where people are, even like on that other video about finding a godly woman to have as their mentor, people are like, how dare you look for a godly woman? You must hate everybody, and you must hate feminism, and you must hate all this. And I was like, it's not even been said, okay. Good night from Gotland? Or are you saying good night from Scotland? Are you leaving? If you're leaving, bye. It was good having you. Yeah, I've been here. I'm personally a fan of eating stuff overall. It's helpful for living, depending on what the stuff is. I mean, it's probably not helpful for my body, but you know. Excuse me. My username used to be Flying Millennial, and then the Lacey Green thing happened with her roaming, and then from then on I was asked if I was her brother or something. That's funny. She's pretty cool. Gotland is in Sweden. Am I stupid? I think I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Good night from Gotland, because you are in Sweden. I'm dumb. It's fine. I'm dumb. Thank you, Yak, been here. Anyway, moving on. So what's funny though is this video I imagine is going to talk about something similar, and they're already kind of talking about it, to what I put out not that long ago was the feminist message for all of us or whatever. I didn't watch this video, so I think that's kind of a little bit creepy, but I don't know, I always find it weird when, like, I put out something similar to someone else, or, like, whatever, it doesn't matter. No, you're American. Thanks. Yeah, Americans are pretty bad with, like, world geography. Mr. Surrendered, stay tuned, Falcon. I may be interviewing Lauren Southern soon. That's cool. And also cool that about your other guests too. Okay, moving on.
Here I am, a guy who's genuinely trying to do the right thing towards women, towards you, towards everyone, and it's so hard when you see so much negativity. So that just brought up a whole conversation,
like a huge can of worms
about this topic, really, of masculinity and manhood.
Yeah.
And as we were talking, we had to acknowledge the fact that masculinity and manhood have been used for so much evil. And I mean, just think about the women we know who've been abused. Some of you have been abused. Like,
I mean, we made that video recently on that because it is such a big issue.
On sexual abuse, I mean, all different types of abuse. And it's so clearly we can see in society a response to the evil that men have caused. And that is a reality that we have to acknowledge. And it is so sad. And so much of that is coming from people who have been hurt by men who are using their strength and their leadership and using themselves in evil ways against other people. And so that's one side of it, and it's really sad, and we have to acknowledge that.
That's awful.
And it is awful. It's terrible. It's sin. And, like, the Bible acknowledges that. But as we were talking, we're also acknowledging that.
No, it's okay. I'm not concerned, Mr. Surrendered. It's totally fine. Y'all can have a conversation in the comments. 3 a.m. here in India. Oh my goodness. Aaron, why are you awake right now? Yak Bin here says I'm American too, but I also spent a lot of my childhood looking at an atlas. I've forgotten more about geography than most people have learned. I wasn't very good at geography, just for the US, so sorry. Yeah, it's my fault. Again, I'm sorry if I came across rude. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. I was just saying, like, trying to acknowledge is what I mean. I'm sorry if I came across rude. So, for this video, though, what is interesting to me is that they're definitely acknowledging what I appreciate is that they're definitely acknowledging where people are coming from. So acknowledging where maybe people are coming from as men, and also why people kind of demonize men and stuff like that because of where they're coming from. So far, I think they're on the right track, being able to, like, consider that this is why we're hearing this kind of narrative. Most of the time, people who just want to hear what they want to hear aren't going to acknowledge that, but we'll see.
God created men for so much more. Yeah. He created men to be men who...
Aaron is a hardcore fan. Yeah, I think so. Mr. Shenard says, I personally think Girl Defined goes a bit far with the purity stuff, but I strongly agree with the spirit and intention behind their teachings. You know, I think that's definitely a part of it too, because here after these, I did notice, like, a whole lot of them really focused on the purity kind of thing, and I think that's where they kind of get to maybe a more religious kind of standpoint, if that makes sense, where it can feel a little legalistic, the length in which they go to be modest, or, like, super concerned about every little thing with purity, and even when they share their things about just holding hands or whatever and not kissing until their marriage or whatever. But a lot of people criticize them for that, but I appreciate that at least with that part they didn't say, like, this is for everyone. I just, like, flipped this sideways. What did I do? Anyway, so here in a second after I get this back, I'll answer. I didn't want to miss your and Paul and Morgan's live stream, that's why. Oh, that's sweet. I did get new glasses, yes. These are anti-reflective, so you just see some, like, green thing instead of, like, a blinding white light in your eyes. And I have some other random glasses. I'm gonna get back to this video. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted.
who use their strength, who use their leadership, who use their influence to not hurt others, but to protect others and cherish others and value others.
Respect and honor.
Respect and honor, all of these things. And so as we were talking, Zach was like, man, like I'm striving to be that kind of guy, but it's hard when you live in a society where there isn't a lot of that being encouraged or really promoted. A phrase that I've seen a lot lately, you guys have, but this phrase, toxic masculinity, it's been around for a while, but I think it's really trending right now because there's a lot of things that are bringing it to the surface. And in a nutshell, it was hard for me to nail down, like in all my research, what this description is.
Like one definition.
One definition, but I think at the heart of it, it was really masculinity that's used in a way that is selfish and harmful. So using masculinity in a way that is really hurting other people rather than protecting them.
As we think about toxic masculinity, I think it's easy to put like toxic masculinity is the problem, manhood is the problem, but really like as biblical, Bible-believing Christians, we need to dig deeper than that and say, okay, what's really the problem here? Is masculinity the problem? Is manhood a problem? Do we need to get rid of that? And
Are men the problem?
Are men the problem? I don't think it is. I think it's the sin, the rebellion against God's good design for manhood.
Sorry, Yak Fan here said I clicked away, and then when I came back, Stephanie had turned invisible, and I got some ASMR of a bag crinkling. I decided to shut my bags, and earlier they were saying they couldn't hear me when I was playing the video, so I was like, well, maybe they won't hear the bags. Sorry, won't do that next time.
That's really the problem. It's men saying, I'm going to do things my own way. I'm going to live for myself, what I want. I don't care if I hurt someone else at the expense. I'm rebelling against God and his good design for men, and I'm going to do things my own way. And I think we get this word toxic masculinity, but I think that's really at the heart of it. That's really at the core of what's going on. It's this rebellion.
See, and this is something I find good about them, because a lot of people are like, oh, you think that women are rebelling against God's purpose because of, like, is it third wave? Someone told me this. I got it wrong last time. Feminism or whatever. And they just flip out at them for saying, you know, they're rebelling against God. But here she just said that toxic masculinity is really that same thing. And at the end of the day, what they're saying is both extremes are basically a selfishness of either a man or a woman to say, I'm going to do what I want to do, whether it hurts other people or not. And so many people try to, like, take that and skew that and say, oh, you know, you're just trying to further the patriarchy and, like, make people subservient and all this stupid stuff. But I'm glad they didn't merely say that men were the problem. Same. Very much same.
Against God's design. I think it's important that we do. It is right and good to call out the sin, the evil, the wrong, that rebellion against God, and say, no, that is never right, that is not good, but not to swing so far to the other side where we say, men are the problem, men are the issue, let's get rid of men, masculinity.
Kind of a blanket statement
overall in general, and get rid of them, because that's not really the problem. What we need to do is say, yes, there is a problem over here, the sin is the problem, but what about God's good design for masculinity? And what about the men who are genuinely striving to honor God, who are genuinely, like, honoring women and respecting women and seeking to, like, cherish women and protect them? There are so many women. Yeah, they still exist, and there are still so many men that want to honor women in that way. And I think we need to be careful not to put this overall, like, this is the way it is, because I think that can also be harmful. So on one hand, we are seeing this evil, sinful form of masculinity being portrayed, and we need to acknowledge that as wrong. But then instead of just saying, okay, that's all I have, we need to say, no, what is God calling men to? What is a right version, a God-honoring version of masculinity? And how can we, like, encourage and champion men in that? And so in 1 Peter, if I can get my Bible here, in 1 Peter, there is a verse that gives us a little clue. There's a lot of verses about what God calls men to, and I think it's so important that we know what God calls men to so we can actually promote that. But 1 Peter 3:7a says, likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman. And I think that's so important. God isn't calling men to be these powerhouses, controlling, ruling, forget the woman. No, he's saying live with your wife in an understanding way, understanding each other, the differences, seeking to understand, saying, wow, let me understand your point of view. Let me try to understand you as a woman, and then showing honor. Honor is such an incredible word. What does it mean to show honor to someone? Like, think about it. If you say, wow, I want to honor someone, you're going to go above and beyond to respect them, to value them.
And just thinking of the contrast of a man honoring a woman versus a man dominating a woman or abusing a woman. Like, loving her and honoring her, what a contrast that we see in Scripture.
And so when you see that and you hear that, wow,
if you weren't here earlier,
God is calling men to live in an
comments.
understanding way and to honor. That is such a difference. And that's something that we can call out and promote and champion in the men who are striving to live in that direction. Another verse that I think is a wonderful description of how God calls men to act. And it may be a verse you have never heard of, but I think it's so important to see this. It's 1 Corinthians 16:13-14. We'll link this below. It says, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. But it doesn't stop there. It says, let all that you do be done in love.
Okay, so, yes, I've been here. I was definitely scrolling for the comments because I like to see what people's thoughts are. And, okay, so, basically a whole lot of criticism because, one of them, a few people were like, I bet the only book they ever read was, like, the Bible. It's frustrating. I just don't like baseless things, and there's just so much baseless in here. But then other few people were saying, like, oh, well, you're not really talking about what toxic masculinity is, but in a sense they are. And that is really, toxic masculinity, yes, is the idea of, like, what a real man should be. But that real man is defined by people and what they think. And like they're even mentioning the abuse of things that they were given, and so then they go on to really try to define biblically what should a man be. Yes, strong, but also loving and understanding, which goes in the face of what we would consider toxic masculinity. So I don't really find that relevant, if that makes sense. I like that 1 Corinthians 16:13-14 reference they gave. Yes. So right now, what I am seeing from these videos is that, they have taken a pretty good change in format, which was a large part of my criticism, was that they were coming off as condescending. They were coming off as disingenuine. Is that the word? Disingenuine? Not genuine. And I feel like they are, with the change in their setup, with removing, like, the obnoxious music in the background, with kind of having more of a conversational tone to their videos, I feel like they're doing a lot better job at reaching their audience in a better way, if that makes sense, and still tackling issues that are important. After this, I do see a lot on purity, which, like, okay, for example, they're talking about their conference trailer for skincare, and then it is how we handle pushback and rejection, sex, purity, and the longings of a girl's heart, which was that book. So then they kind of go into, like, the book promotion, I think. Disingenuous is the word you were looking for. Thank you. They just need to relax. I think that's true. I think they might be coming from, because I know some people who actually do have, like, training from being in front of a camera, from, like, the Christian TV point of view, and they are not very comfortable in front of a more personable YouTube kind of setup where we're just having a conversation. So they might be like that. They might have had some sort of training or something that kind of made them feel like they had to be like, okay guys, but that doesn't make any sense. But I feel like they are doing better at kind of relaxing a little bit. They could use a little bit more relaxing though. And then the next videos are all about sexual purity and Christian girls type things, which this looks like, the top row looks like just basically promotion for their book. So on, oh, sorry, I didn't see that flying falcon. Do you have a solution to the feminazi question? What was that? Can you clarify what you mean, and I'll try to answer you. And who was that again? What name? Mr. Surrender had said earlier about their like hyper focus sometimes on purity and taking it too far. I think that is still a criticism, especially just seeing their last row videos. That it's 5 o'clock, so I'm not gonna. Wow, apologize for that. It's 5 o'clock, so I'm not gonna go into all of those, but I think that they could probably relax on that front as well. But I understand that they are trying to help girls like reach a better view of themselves, because right now, culture is telling girls like to be very involved in every feeling that they have, and just doing whatever they feel like. And of course that's with guys too, but especially with girls, they're like, wear whatever you feel like wearing. But usually it's wear whatever you feel like wearing, but modesty is a joke. So why don't you wear more revealing stuff like that? That is definitely a pressure that I see out there. So, a lot of their message goes in the face of what a lot of people have decided is, right, just because it's the biggest message being pushed by society. Again, do I think they focus on it a little bit much and go a little far with it? Yes. But in a general sense, I'm going to come to a conclusion here, just from our little stream here, that, yeah, I think they have taken a change for the better when it comes to the criticisms of my previous video. I think they are definitely working on having that personable, conversational tone instead of, we have all the answers and we're going to give it to you like this and we're perfect and everything's wonderful and I'm not approachable. Now they're coming to be a more approachable group of people. I'm going to just start repeating myself if I don't stop talking, so I'm going to look down at our comments. You were talking about the feminists that are crazy and essentially against men. So, do I have an answer for that? Don't do that. That's not really an answer. But, I'm gonna take this out of my ear because I don't think I need it anymore if we're not reacting anymore. Which now you get to see. Maybe I can just get. I don't know. You're just gonna see my random screen there. So Merry Christmas. By the way, if it seems crazy, someone is probably trolling you. That's probably true too. But there are a lot of ideas that are crazy out there that people really, really do believe. As for a solution to the feminazi ideal, I don't have one. Because I don't. I mean, how do you have a solution to people basically deciding that a whole group of people are worthless? Because that's really the view, is like, men are worthless and, women ought to be on a pedestal unless if they believe differently than me. And they have this whole movement of, you're not a true feminist or not a true woman if you don't agree, like, with our message and stuff like that, which is, like, a whole new level of gatekeeping. Oh my god. Mr. Surrendered's, oh, okay, I'm done. Thank you, guys. I bet you this is my mic, isn't it? I'm not very smart today. Yep, that's it. Found it, sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry. I didn't realize that it actually was pulling from this. I thought it was pulling from my webcam mic, but apparently it was pulling from the one in my ear, just like right there. Sorry. Oh boy. Flying Falcon says, I have a solution and it's the best one. It's final. That's concerning. Also, Mr. Surrendered's suggestion was hilarious, though I don't think it'd work well. Sorry about like murdering my mic over here. It sounds a little better. That's concerning. I also am now worried that I probably like made lots of chewing sounds like right in your guys' ears. So yeah. anyways, it's really warm in here and unpleasant. So I'm probably going to leave you guys soon. Do you guys have any thoughts you'd like to share before we go ahead and leave this live stream? I think if I keep talking, I'm literally just going to repeat everything I said. It's just a habit of mine. When I'm going through a thought process, I just keep repeating it. So I'm going to try not to do that. Also, in general, if you did sit through the playthrough of this, because I know that sometimes I watch back live streams and listen to them and all that stuff. So, you know, if you were looking to just hate on Girl Defined, I'm sorry, that's not what we're here to do. But Aaron says, no, I don't recall hearing any chewing sounds. That's good. I'm very glad, because that would have grossed me out personally as a viewer. So I guess good job to Girl Defined for listening to your audience, listening to criticism, and you know, changing in a constructive way. Do I think that we're still a little obsessed with the whole purity thing? Yeah, but you know, you do you. Some people have certain things that they're really passionate about that other people don't think are as important to talk about 24/7. So, I mean, there's other things that I probably talk about that I stress that other people don't see that much importance in. So, hey, can you react to my YouTube? I don't know, because I don't know who you are. But hi, thanks for coming by. Flame Falcon, I did toward the end. I have to pause it. I had to shoot an instrument landing system. Okay, don't know how that works. Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and probably get off of here just because it's been an hour. I feel like I've come to a conclusion. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me on my conclusion, but you know, we can all come to our own happy conclusions. And sounds like there's some interesting interviews over there on Mr. Surrendered's channel. I'll have to check out sometime. Probably not right now though, because I have to go do some other stuff. But you guys might want to check that out because it sounds like there's some interesting interviews over there. And thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you, Storage Studios, just for dropping in and saying hi. Yakbin here says maybe next time I'll realize it's a live stream and not miss out. Hey, you got here for part of it, so you know. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming and being a part, and I hope I can find my way to the exit button, because every single time it takes me forever. Nope, that's not the right page, and here we are. Okay. Wow, that's a flattering angle. It's not. Nobody cares. Alright. So, yep. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Saturday and Sunday. And for those of you in the US, do not forget that next Sunday is Mother's Day. You should probably work on figuring out what you're doing, because I haven't, and I'd like it when people remind me. So, anyway, goodbye.